It has become very clear there's going to be a lot of changes with the Minnesota Vikings as they move forward, who have yet to choose a head coaching and general manager candidate. Now, I know this process takes a while, but in the meantime, us fans are stuck here wondering, okay, what are the top 5 draft needs as we kind of head into here? Now, again, disclaimer, I know there's going to be a lot up in the air right now. I know Kirk Cousins could possibly not even be the team's quarterback next year, but I'm banking as he will, and I'm also banking that the Vikings will please re-sign Danielle Hunter. I don't ask for much. I really don't. I just please resign the man. He's a bad player. He's a bad man. He's the man. So I think moving forward, we at least need to take a look at the pre-hiring phase, top 5 draft needs for the Vikings and pre-free agency, that is. So before, and again, I think we've said it multiple times, this team does not need to rebuild, it just needs to retool. So this is the top 5 needs as we see it. Now, some of these we'll explain that could change, especially with how things pan out moving forward. But at least here is what our thoughts are for the Vikings' top 5 draft needs. I think it all starts with corner, And I think, I know this draft need might be like, number 1, really? I believe it is, because if you look at how the Vikings corners played this year, I mean, Patrick Peterson had a great bounce back year, but other than that, across the board, it was rough. Like, it was very rough because there was so many different things going on, and it really was one of those things where, okay, I really don't think that Cameron Dantzler is, he hasn't been bad. I want to make that abundantly clear. There has definitely been worse options out there, but, guys like Mackenzie Alexander, I'm still not fully sold on Chris Boyd moving forward. So I just think that there's just a lot of question marks with the Vikings secondary right now, and whether you go get Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley Jr., I think there's a lot of talent here in this draft that the Vikings need to go after, and maybe even in free agency. I don't know how that will pan out, but I do expect that the Vikings will try to make a play for a corner, whether it's in the first round or the second round, I don't know. But moving forward, I think the Vikings really need to take a look at all the different needs, and I think the corner is the number 1 need. Now, again, could Patrick Peterson make his way back into the Vikings? Maybe, but I do think overall that the Vikings, if they're going to truly look at winning, they need to obviously have a good balance of veteran presence and also talent around said veteran. So I think moving forward, the Vikings need to make sure that they have good draft picks. Obviously, Stingley Jr., Sauce Gardner, any one of those, I think those players would be the best options to start out with. But I do think, again, that it does come down to the Vikings needing to go and address the cornerback spot first. Now, again, is there some players, I mean, I got nothing against guys like Chris Boyd and all that, but it's just I don't know if I'm being 100% honest. I don't know if he's going to be a guy that's a starter. Harrison Hand is another guy that I think could definitely need and get some opportunities, but he just doesn't seem to get the time of the day, even though he showed a lot of promise last year. I know he was on the COVID list early in the season, but I feel like he definitely needs a shot, and at some point needs to get his opportunities because this man deserves it. He absolutely is a good player for him, and I think, moving forward, it's not like the Vikings have a ton of options. Come on, you need to make a play at some point. And I think moving forward, the Vikings need to take a serious look at their DB room. Now, again, Cameron Dantzler is not a bad player, but they need to look at some different things moving forward and see if that is in fact the route they want to go to. Having Dantzler as a starter, I don't know. I think he showed enough to be a starter right now, but moving forward, we can see different things. Vikings need number 2 is outside linebacker in my mind. This does not come easy. Now, I like what I've seen from guys like Blake Lynch. Anthony Barr it's been fun watching him play for the Vikings for so long, but I do think the Vikings will go in a different direction. Now, what that direction is, I do not know. But there's a lot of different things that we'll get into draft videos and different things that teams should take a look at. But I do think that moving forward, I think Anthony Barr's not going to be on the team. I think he showed a lot this year, had a couple of interceptions, had a couple of sacks, but I think overall the Vikings are going to move in a different direction. And I don't think that it is all on Anthony Barr. This isn't all Anthony Barr's fault. I thought he was a very respectable player for the Vikings moving forward, but I do think that they have to take a serious look at this defense after Mike Zimmer has is leaving here, because there's a lot that's going to go on. Now, I've seen some promise, like we said, Blake Lynch, Chaz Surratt could maybe play some outside linebacker moving up for him, but Nick Vigil also showed some flashes, but not 100% sold on him. Also, Ryan Conley, who was placed on IR earlier in the year, was a player that, okay, he provides some good depth. Tough Borland, who I think is more of a practice squad player, is, you got what you got there. But I would maybe like to see Chaz Serrato, guys like Blake Lynch start. But overall, I think that's the number 2 need heading into the draft and free agency for the Vikings. Like we said, there's just a lot that's going to go on this offseason. There's going to be a lot that's answered, but that's the way we see it. The Vikings need number Trace, quarterback. Now, I understand that Kirk Cousins could very well still be with the team. That's fine and dandy. This is more for quarterback of the future, because right now they have Kirk Cousins under contract for one more season, over $40 million. I believe it is going to be his cap hit this year. It's a lot of money. Now, I don't know if they'll look into at a contract extension. I don't know if they could just trade him and make Kellen Mond the starter. They could draft a quarterback in the first round as well. I don't know. But overall, I think that is definitely the need that they need to take a look for at the most here, because, your quarterback is your most important position, and I think the Vikings need to know what they've got. They need to take a serious look at their office here, at their team. Obviously build around him, but also need to take a look and see, okay, what quarterback do we want leading this franchise for the next decade, hopefully to a couple of Super Bowl victories. We'll have to see. But obviously, I think Kirk is going to be with the team for at least one more year. Again, contract extension could be up in the air, but overall, I think this is a huge draft need for the Vikings up near the top. Now, you could say it's number 1, number 2, but I think, again, the reason I put it at number 3 is because, if you want to stay with Kirk Cousins, which I think you do for at least this year, I think you can go in the route of, okay, you got him for one more season, and I think, honestly, Kirk gives you the best chance to win between, free agency, also drafting a quarterback. I think Kirk is your best shot there. So, and I think that it's a big draft need for the Vikings and potentially free agency need moving forward. But we do like Kellen Mond. We really like Kellen Mond. I think he could be a very good player. Vikings draft need number 4, defensive tackle. Now, don't get me wrong. Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce have been fantastic, but I think both have a contract out. Rob Bazinski, who has been amazing with cap space for the Vikings over the years. Armand Watts stays. That's why we got him here. He stays. James Lynch has shown promise. I think his role is more of in a backup, but he plays very intently. He plays with a lot of passion. I think you keep him as well. You also have to keep in mind the Vikings have Jalen Twyman, who could, I think, if you get a hard-nosed defensive tackle, like a hard-nosed nose tackle up front that can take up double teams, maybe that's Armand Watts. I don't know. I think Armand is better suited for a 3-tech. I think Jalen Twyman is also better suited for a 3-tech, so I think you guys could have a solid. And also James Lynch fits in there somewhere. I think Armand filled in for Michael Pierce, so I think he could play nose as well. But overall, I think the Vikings need to take a serious look at their run stuffers, a serious look at their run defense. It was a major blow for them this year. They could not stop the run in a lot of cases. And even when they had Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson in, who, again, I think both will be gone, they weren't able to stop the run. It was very, very rough. But moving forward, I think the Vikings need to take a look at their defensive tackles, like we said, Armand Watts, James Lynch, and they need to take a look at what they have because I think that they could try to get a number 1 run stuffing defensive tackle in this year's draft. And the final draft need, as we see for the Minnesota Vikings, or the biggest need, is guard. Now, left guard, Ezra Cleveland, we know that. Center, I think that's the bigger question, Garrett Bradbury. I think Mason Cole needs to start at center. But at right guard, there's kind of a hole. You can't start Uli Udoh because he's going to hold everybody. I think you got to get in Wyatt Davis. You either got to put in Wyatt Davis or you got to come up with a competition. Either one works for me. But at this point, Uli Udoh is not the answer. I think he's best suited as a backup tackle, and I think you need to either, again, put Wyatt Davis in or put in somebody that will play hard-nosed football, that will play pass block. I think that's honestly going to be what you're seeing is the Vikings taking more of a pass blocking approach to this. And I think that the Vikings need to put a lot of capital and thought into their offensive line as a whole. Again, whether that's, you got Christian Darrisaw at left tackle, Ezra Cleveland at left guard. I like that duo. Mason Cole, I think, needs to start at center next year. Right guard is TBD, but also Brian O'Neill. So you got a young and upcoming offensive line. I think that right guard spot is the biggest weakness, and it needs to be figured out ASAP, especially, and if you want to draft a center, fine. Or if you want to get a better center, fine, whatever. But I think overall this needs to happen. You need to find a stalwart at right guard, and they need to find him and buckle him down for at least the next decade. But let us know what you guys think about the top 5 Minnesota Vikings Vikings draft needs. Like we said, this is going to be a really fun process moving forward, and there's going to be a lot of different moving parts. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. Check out our website at thesportsbriefpodcast.com. And if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we'd love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about our take on the Minnesota Vikings top 5 draft needs, before free agency.